The boards, you know, that was when I first started this line in 1999. Okay, so 89, I went to USC for a year, came back home and went to Windward Community College, graduated, and they had a great relationship with HPU with their Phi Theta Kappa scholarships. And so I jumped in there and met these anthropologists, Dr. Rob Borowski, Auntie Lynette Cruz, Dr. Auntie Lynette Cruz, who were phenomenal inspirations. And so I wanted to continue research on that from my kumu at Windward, who had inspired me to create this class. And so the first thing I did was I heard that a guy named Professor Ben Finney was giving a lecture. I think it was the Academy of Arts or somewhere. I went and got to shake his hand and meet him. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Finney, but he was one of the first, well, he was one of the originators of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. He's one of the founders, helped to build Hokulea, went on the first journey and did the anthropology recording. Now, there's all kinds of stuffs about all of that because some people are coming from science and some people are coming from culture, and it is the bloodline of reality. But we're finding, again, something much bigger than that, and that's the perception and impression, and who gets to own the knowledge of Polynesian voyaging. And at that time, Andrew Sharp and was a professor over there, author of The Drift Theory. And I'm going to get it wrong here. Was it 25,000 islands and 65 million miles of sea or something like that? No. Every single one of them was found by the Oceanians, the Austronesians. Yeah, we say Polynesia, Micronesia, Melanesia, one people, Oceania. That doesn't happen when you're drifting, you know? So they were on a really important mission. And look at Hokulea Tere. The Hawaiian term for voyaging itself, in the Kumulipo, in their creation chants, is He'enalu Ma'amau. For those of you in the yard, He'enalu, that's surfing. Ma'amau, far, far off, so far off, it's almost unreachable. That star way off in the south and west, yeah. The voyagers were surfing from afar. And that was what Ben Finney said, Polynesian voyaging. Surfing is a basic marine adaptation of the seafaring peoples of Oceania. As sure as they left the shore, they had to go through waves. As sure as they landed on shore, they had to go through waves. Yeah, just ask Moana. You know, it's for real. So it was a skill and ability that the leaders, that the people had to be able to seek out new islands. Astronomy teacher Joe Ciotti repeats what the ancestors told their people. Under every bright star lies an island. Go there, find it. There was no drifting, it was purposeful migration. Upwind, because you got to go upwind so you can go home easy, grab everybody and come back once you find the place. And that connection of surfing with voyaging is critical to the understanding of the integration of surfing in the oceanic cultures, without a doubt. And Ben, you know, tells me, yeah, is that okay if I continue your research on surfing? He wrote his book in the 50s as a thesis, a master's thesis. He was going to do it on voyaging, but you know, he felt kind of threatened by these big timers who are telling him, you like graduate. So he turned, did his works on surfing, and then, you know, built Hokulea and went swimming to prove, or went voyaging with real Hawaiians to show that it could be done. And he said, yeah, you go. Because I was able to show through my research in English translations of Hawaiian lore and Hawaiian accounts and Hawaiian language newspapers that they were surfing diagonally across waves. Now, this is something that most people don't even understand, but back in the last century, the common thing was to say, you know, Hawaiians, they surf straight off, like in Waikiki. You see it in all the pictures in the 1880s, 90s, and by that time we had planked wood coming in that have impacted the shapes of the boards and the functionality of the boards. And we had work and worship and all these cultural changes and a ban on surfing and hula and language and everything else once, well, tomorrow's July 4th. Great day for America, not so good for Hawaii. That was the day that they marched on Iolani Palace. So there had been so many changes that surfing had gone back to a rudimentary form in these urban areas like Waikiki. People love to say surfing almost disappeared.